So our external life is a reflection of our spiritual alignment. And even though there's an exact direct correlation, that doesn't mean it lines up time-wise. So, and I've done this before. I look at my life, I look at the times where I'm killing it financially in business, everything's going good, and I try to connect it with, well, if there's a connection between spiritual alignment and doing well externally and physically, then it should be at the same time. So I'm doing well externally, I should be also very spiritually aligned. But that's not always how it lines up, because usually what forces us, what compels us to align spiritually, connect back with our true selves, connect back with the creator of the universe, God, is when things are not going well. When we realize we need to get back to ourselves, that we distanced ourselves from our creator because we don't even have something on the outside to rely on. And then when things go back up, we take things for granted, we slack, we get comfortable because everything's smooth sailing. We forget our creator, we forget who we are, we forget what brought us to that level, and we go back down. But it doesn't happen right away. It's not like you disconnect spiritually and you get a slap in the face. It's kind of like when you're driving the car, you're pushing the gas and you're speeding up. When you let go of the gas pedal, you're still going for a while. You're not going to slow down right away. It'll take time for you to slow down. And it's the same thing with spiritual alignment. So when we're getting our things together, and that could be exercising. For me, working out daily is spiritual. For me, waking up at 5 a.m. is spiritual. For me, eating right, eating good nutrition, that's spiritual. That's connecting with God, as well as learning Torah and prayer and speaking to God in my own words. But even taking out the garbage before my wife asks me, that's spiritual. Going on a date with my wife, taking her out, putting her first, that's connecting with God. Being on the offense. We all know what we got to do. Organizing my finances, my income and expenses, that's spiritual. Because that's what God wants me to do. And we all know subconsciously and in our gut, our consciousness, which is the authentic voice of God, is telling us exactly what we need to do. God doesn't want us to be learning Torah, praying, and be completely out of shape and eat garbage and not treat our wives well and have a messy house. So we got to be honest with ourselves. But back to what I was saying, the truth is that we get our things together when the external is not working out for us, when things are looking bad. So we get our things together, and when we align spiritually, we're clearing the pipes. It's called Shefa in Hebrew, which means the divine flow, the flow of abundance, sustenance. So when we clear up the pipes by aligning spiritually, doing what we need to do, being on the offense, aligning ourselves with God, the creator of the universe, then we're clearing up the pipes, and divine flow, sustenance, abundance is able to come down freely. And then we have our vessel at the bottom, as it says in Kabbalistic teachings. So our vessel gets filled up, and it takes time for things to stabilize and for us to get back to comfort, in a sense, or externally things going well, very well, being externally comfortable. But we fill up our vessel, and then what usually happens is, because we're so comfortable and everything on the outside is going well for us, then we forget what brought us there. We forget the creator of the universe. We forget the habits and the actions and the mindsets and the passion that brought us to that level. And so we then start cruising. We take our foot off the gas. And there is a time delay between the time that we slow down and our life comes back crashing down and the time that we take the foot off the gas because we filled our vessel up and it gets used up. It's like you're pushing the gas, you let go of the gas, you disalign yourself spiritually. Well, the car's still going to keep rolling. It's going to take time for you to slow down, but it will slow down. And next thing we know, we're going 5 miles an hour or we're stopped. And then we realize, well, we got to press the gas once more. So up to recently, I was actually always looking, okay, so during the good times in my life, when I'm killing it in business, how does that align with me spiritually simultaneously, when in reality, it's not the same timeline. There's a delay where we get our things together spiritually. It frees up the pipes so that God can bring down, so we can receive the divine abundance and the divine flow that's coming from above. Our vessel fills up, things slowly take time to get back up because our vessel are empty at that point by the time we get our things back together. So we get back up and then our vessel is full. We tend to forget God, which is something we got to catch right away. Do not forget God when things are comfortable. He's the one that brought us there in the first place. So we get to that level and then we get comfortable. So we take our foot off the gas, we disalign, we stop waking up early, exercising, eating right, having discipline, whatever it is for you, you and your consciousness. I can only speak for myself. And so we take our foot off the gas, and initially things are still at the top because our tank is full. We still got momentum. But next thing we know, 1 week, 1 month, 6 months, a year after, we lost all of our momentum. We emptied out our vessel that was filled up from our spiritual alignment initially when we were down. And then now we're back to where it was before. So there is a time delay, and it makes sense if you think about it, but it's also to preserve our free will. Because if I didn't align myself spiritually, or I disconnect myself spiritually and I get a slap in the face, well, then I'm never going to disconnect spiritually. I'm not going to have free will. It's going to take away my free will. And if I align myself spiritually, I do what I got to do, and right away I get the reward, then anybody would do it, right? If you go to the gym one time and you get a six-pack right away, everybody would go to the gym, but it takes time. It takes perseverance. There's a time delay in the gym. When you start a business, there's a time delay. You don't start a business and your first week make $1 million. It takes time. So it's the same thing spiritually, and that's what preserves our free will at all costs.